Welcome to our college briefing show. Today, we're diving into some fascinating stories from around the world. First up, Hong Kong star Keung 2's recent sea fall has sparked a lively debate online. Social media is a double-edged sword, helping stars connect directly with fans but also exposing them to harsh criticism and cyberbullying. It's a wild ride for modern celebrities who share their lives online, making them more vulnerable than ever. Next, we have an inspiring tale of resilience. Australian journalist Cheng Lei, detained in China for nearly 3 years under harsh conditions, has finally been released. She recounts her ordeal in her memoir, highlighting the systemic cruelty she faced and the importance of hope, perseverance, and kindness in dark times. Her story reminds us that even in the toughest moments, the human spirit can shine bright. Finally, let's talk about tiny sea urchins, yes, those spiny creatures. Due to climate change, their populations are exploding along Australia's coasts, damaging kelp forests. But scientists see a silver lining. Controlled culling could help restore marine ecosystems and even create a new industry. It's a tricky balance, but one that could help fight climate change while boosting the economy. Please continue to watch for the full stories and more updates. South China Morning Post vividly illustrates the complex world of social media and its impact on Hong Kong celebrities, focusing on Keung 2's recent fall into the sea. The article captures the emotional roller coaster faced by young stars, who enjoy direct communication with fans through social media but are also exposed to a flood of hostility and hateful comments. Experts emphasize that this digital landscape acts as a double-edged sword, fostering a parasocial relationship that makes celebrities feel closer to their fans yet more vulnerable to criticism. Keung's experience sparks a broader conversation about the mental health challenges that come with this new era, highlighting that celebrities like Eden Louis actively defend themselves against online abuse, and some, like Saruria Leung, promote mental health awareness, turning social media into a platform for positive change amidst the negativity. Nikkei Asia offers a compelling and deeply personal account of Cheng Lei's harrowing experience of detention and her subsequent fight for voice and freedom. The article vividly describes her ordeal in Chinese detention centers, where she endured physical pain, psychological torment, and the threat of suicide, all designed to break her spirit. Cheng's resilience shines through as she narrates her efforts to find solace in memories of loved ones and small acts of kindness, even amidst systemic cruelty. Her story underscores the human capacity for empathy and hope, revealing her transformation from a victim of political repression to an advocate for transparency and mental health awareness. Her return to Australia marks a triumphant moment, fueled by diplomatic efforts and persistent advocacy, illustrating the power of resilience and the importance of international support in confronting injustice. The Sydney Morning Herald explores the paradoxical potential of climate change to foster ecological and economic solutions through the overabundance of sea urchins in Australian waters. As warming oceans expand their range southward, native long-spined and short-spined sea urchins have exploded in numbers, devastating kelp forests and disrupting marine ecosystems. However, the article presents a hopeful perspective, proposing that culling these overpopulated species could not only restore vital kelp habitats but also create a lucrative industry, harvesting urchin roe as a delicacy. Experts argue that targeted efforts, including government investment and sustainable harvesting practices, could turn a climate change-induced problem into an ecological and economic opportunity. This innovative approach highlights the potential for human ingenuity and proactive management to address environmental challenges, transforming ecological destruction into a source of hope and sustainability. South China Morning Post highlights how China's museums are creatively addressing their financial struggles by tapping into the nation's booming culture of emotional consumption. With millions of visitors annually, many public museums operate at a loss due to high operating costs and low ticket prices, prompting them to boost revenue through merchandise sales. The success of items like a fridge magnet shaped like an ancient Chinese empress's headdress, which sold over 1 million copies, illustrates the strong consumer desire to connect with Chinese history and culture. Young designers like Peach Su are riding this wave, designing souvenirs inspired by landmarks and cityscapes, with her business flourishing as young Chinese consumers increasingly spend impulsively on culturally meaningful products. Experts warn, however, that this industry risks homogenization, urging museums to innovate with personalized and interactive merchandise to stand out and satisfy consumers' desire for uniqueness and self-expression. The Sydney Morning Herald narrates the astonishing story of Regencell Bioscience, a Chinese biotech company whose stock surged by an astonishing 82,000% in a matter of days, making its CEO, Yat Gaio, temporarily worth over $50 billion on paper. This rapid rise, followed by a swift collapse, has mystified investors and regulators alike, raising concerns about potential market manipulation and pump-and-dump schemes, especially given the company's minimal profits and lack of recent news. Despite its losses and the CEO's limited public engagement, social media campaigns and a following of over 500,000 on Instagram helped propel its stock. Authorities like the SEC and FINRA are now scrutinizing such wild market swings, emphasizing the risks posed by small, low-priced stocks vulnerable to fraud. The story underscores the unpredictable nature of early-stage biotech ventures and the importance of regulatory oversight in preventing market abuse. The Sydney Morning Herald also captures the passionate determination of Australian rugby players like Tom Robertson and Dylan Peach, who are eager to seize their chances on the international stage against the British and Irish Lions. Robertson, who overcame a serious ACL injury and took a sabbatical at Oxford University to pursue advanced degrees, played a pivotal role in the recent match, showcasing his versatility by excelling in both tight head and loose head prop positions. His dedication exemplifies resilience and a deep love for the game, with aspirations to secure a spot in the Wallabies' upcoming Test squad. Meanwhile, Peach's relentless pursuit of representing Australia again is fueled by his recovery from injuries, with his fearless style of play and willingness to adapt, whether in the wing or prop, highlighting his commitment to his country's rugby legacy. Their stories reflect the raw passion and sacrifices made by athletes striving for excellence, inspiring fans and teammates alike. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation presents a nostalgic reflection on the evolution of photography through Kevin Parsons' personal collection of slides and film reels from 1950s and 60s Western Australia. Parsons reminisces about a time when family slideshows were the primary means of sharing images, emphasizing the simplicity and immediacy of modern smartphone photography. Emily Brink, an art history professor, highlights a shift in the purpose of photography, from being a commemorative act to a tool for curated, virtual images that often focus on perfection and social media persona. She laments the loss of spontaneity and community that face-to-face sharing once fostered, noting that the imperfections and serendipitous moments of old photographs contributed to genuine human connection, contrasting sharply with today's polished, design-like images. Yahoo US delves into the cultural phenomenon of tipping fatigue in Utah, revealing that Americans spent a staggering $78 billion on tips in 2023, with Utah contributing the least at just over 4%. The article humorously imagines a community intervention in a church hall to convince Utah residents to tip more generously, especially considering the state's large families and the messes children create in public spaces. The writer argues that service workers deserve more recognition and gratitude, especially when caring for children's inevitable mishaps. Despite debates over whether tips should be eliminated in favor of fair wages, the piece underscores the importance of community support and the moral obligation to acknowledge the effort of those in service roles, especially in a state where tipping remains notably low. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation shares the inspiring story of Nicole Piccioni, an Italian classical musician turned country singer, who found her new home and passion in outback Queensland. After falling in love with country music during a trip to Canada, Piccioni moved from Milan to Australia, where she now performs at local events and embraces the bush spirit. Her journey took her from studying music in Italy to working on cattle stations in Queensland, where she learned to pour a schooner and immerse herself in the community. Inspired by Dolly Parton and local Australian bands, she appreciates the sense of belonging and authenticity that country music offers, an experience vastly different from her European roots. Piccioni's adventure exemplifies embracing new cultures and chasing dreams in the vast, vibrant Australian outback. The Toronto Star vividly depicts the tumultuous scene in Belgrade, where tens of thousands of protesters, led mainly by university students, gathered in a fervent display of dissent against President Aleksandar Vučić's government. The spirited crowd, chanting, "We want elections," converged on Slavija Square and surrounding streets, defying police barricades and clashing with riot officers in a dramatic showdown that lasted hours. Police responded with handcuffs, pepper spray, and batons, detaining dozens of demonstrators amidst injuries to officers and civilians. This mass mobilization followed nearly 8 months of relentless protests triggered by widespread frustration over corruption, authoritarian tendencies, and the government's refusal to call early elections. The students, fueling the rally with calls for democratic renewal, linked their fight to national history and the symbolic significance of St. Vitus Day, evoking Serbian nationalism and the historic battle against Ottoman rule. Meanwhile, Vučić's supporters, bussed into Belgrade, rallied in tents, reinforcing his grip on power as authorities cracked down on opposition voices and independent media, illustrating a tense standoff between democratic aspirations and authoritarian resilience. In Alberta, the political landscape is equally charged, with Premier Danielle Smith vowing to challenge a court-imposed injunction that temporarily blocks Bill 26, a law prohibiting doctors from providing gender-affirming care to youth. Justice Alison Kuntz's ruling, citing potential irreparable harm, has thrown a wrench into the province's efforts to restrict transgender health services, prompting Smith to declare her intention to escalate the legal battle. Experts note that while the injunction is a setback, it does not definitively determine the constitutionality of the law, which remains under judicial review. The province's consideration of invoking the notwithstanding clause, a constitutional tool to override court decisions, raises the stakes, though its use would be politically contentious and legally complex. With the legislative session not resuming until October, the government's strategy involves navigating a delicate balance between legal challenges and political messaging, echoing past instances where the clause's employment sparked public debate and controversy. This ongoing conflict underscores the broader struggle over rights, governance, and the role of courts in shaping Alberta's policy landscape. Meanwhile, across the United States, Morrison High School students are making groundbreaking contributions to space science through a NASA-backed project. Under the guidance of University of Michigan researchers, 10 Morrison students helped assemble a cost-effective antenna, part of the Sunrise Ground Radio Lab, designed to detect radio waves from solar disturbances like coronal mass ejections, CMEs. Their involvement not only provided valuable data for understanding space weather but also inspired young minds by engaging them directly in scientific research. The innovative, $500 antennas, a fraction of traditional costs, enable detection of low-frequency radio signals emitted by solar storms, which can impact satellites, power grids, and astronauts. This citizen science initiative exemplifies how educational programs can bridge academia and high school classrooms, fostering the next generation of scientists and engineers. By harnessing space-based interferometry, the project aims to pinpoint the origins of solar radio bursts and improve early warning systems for space weather threats, illustrating the powerful synergy between education, research, and technological advancement. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
News breaks, buzz the ground, stories spin, walls come down, voices merge in the sound, faces mix in the crowd, broadcasters paint the scene, world events on our screen, every link a different theme, words collide in the stream, 6 degrees connect the dots, background stories more than us. Hear the voices rise aloft, truth unveils in every spot, cultures clash across the globe, spin the threads in a strobe, every story wears a robe, truth and lies in their code, journalists dig real deep, secrets out, they don't sleep, every angle they will keep. In the news we take a leap, new perspectives day by day, hidden truths come to play, in the background shades of gray, every story finds its way. day by day.